All right, welcome in, boys. It's episode 4 of Ant and Jay Save America. I am Jay. He is Ant. Ant, how are you this week, buddy? Haven't talked to you in a few days. How's life been?
Um, some good things in my life. I found an old box of golf balls in my garage, so I have plenty of spare balls for the rest of the season.
That constitutes a good week in the Midwest of America, huh?
Well, yeah. Well, I had a new. I bought some golf balls on Amazon, and they showed up. And my husband was like, "Why the hell did you buy a bunch of new golf balls? You have some in the garage that have been there for like 2 years." And I totally forgot they were there. And it's literally like a whole shoebox full of like Titleist and Wilson and Srixons. I have no recollection of where they came from, but like I got all these great golf balls, so I probably will have to buy golf balls for at least another year. So that's exciting. So that's the good news. The bad news is I work in a work truck all week.
Right.
And last week was 95-degree air temperatures with humidity at 110.
Right.
Well, the heat index was at 110. So the heat index of my truck was like 120 degrees all week. Now, what that causes, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you're like sitting in basically 120-degree weather for like 5, 6, 7 hours at a time, you have constant, we call that swamp ass.
Oh, yeah, sure.
People in Florida call that just normal.
Right.
So what happens when you have like 5, 6 days in a row of swamp ass for hours on end is now I have a rash on my butt. And it's like all itchy and shit. And
it's all raw. You know what I used to call that with my friends? ET thigh. ET's finger glows like
oh god.
Yeah. That's a tough scene. I've had it.
I got like the athlete's foot spray, like the Tenactin, tough actin Tenactin. Boom. Yep. I just remember that old John Madden commercial. So I'm like contemplating. I'm like, should I spray my butthole with Tenactin right now?
Listen. There comes a point in every man's life where he sprays his taint with Tenactin, bro. It happens to all of us. You know?
That makes me feel bad.
Yeah, sure it does. So all right.
I was wondering. I'm like, does that work for? I mean, I think it might be the same thing, right?
I think it's kind of like, it's like athlete's taint. Yeah. That's basically what it is. Yep.
Well, you used to play football in like high school, so you probably got that shit all the time.
Yeah. I get that sometimes anyway. And I barely move. You know what I mean, bro? Big people sweat.
No, you've lost 70 pounds.
Still a big person though. Still a big person. I'm working on it. Yeah. One day I'll weigh as much as you. I'm working my way towards that.
Well, I'm like at 190.
I take that back. I will never be that. Nope. I'm trying to get down to like 220. That's my goal.
Where are you at now?
I'm at like 295, somewhere around.
You were like 360?
I was like fucking about a couple quarter pounders away from 400 at one point.
Holy crap. And you were alive?
I was alive. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you know. Like, we live for a little while until we eventually die, you know? So I was in that stage of working my way towards death, but I reeled it back in. So I think I'm going to live like a normal life.
Well, that shows that, let's see. So we've known each other for about 4.5, 5 years.
Yep.
And I've relentlessly fat shamed you basically our entire friendship.
Yep.
And since you and I became friends, you've lost 80 pounds. So fat shaming works.
I mean, yeah. You know, it kills some people. Some people just hang themselves. But like, yeah, it's working for me for sure.
So it's been a net positive, you fat fuck.
Definitely a net positive. Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
All right. What's on the docket today?
Okay. First up, we got your favorite person, Elon Musk.
Oh, I love Elon Musk.
Yeah. So Tesla lies about cars' driving range and cancel service appointments should the buyers complain. It's a little crazy, right? A little false advertisement.
I'm not shocked. Well, you hear that all the time with people with the electric cars, where they say like once winter hits, like the range gets cut in half, and it's not just Teslas, but I heard that with like the Ford Lightnings, like only get like 100 miles of range once winter hits.
Right. Yeah. So apparently, leading electric car manufacturer Tesla programmed its dashboards to exaggerate how far the vehicles can drive on a single charge, and then canceled service appointments for customers who noticed their car's range was shorter than expected. A report by Reuters found
That
Thursday.
that's different than what I thought. I thought they were just lying, like, oh yeah, cars. I thought they're just selling cars that had like 350-mile range and they only had 300. They're actually deliberately they're deliberately lying on the range speedometer. Let's say.
I believe so. It says Tesla's programmers rigged the car's range estimating software to exaggerate how far they could go without running out of battery. And then, when charging on the battery fell below 50%, readjust to a more realistic projection, one Tesla employee told Reuters.
Oh, they got whistleblowers and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. An idea that came directly from your favorite person, CEO Elon Musk himself.
Hold on, wait a minute. The world's biggest bullshit artist, turns out he's bullshitting about
I
Teslas too.
mean, some people say he's one of the smartest people on earth, but
He
maybe
is.
maybe he's slightly crooked as well. Isn't everybody slightly crooked?
Yeah, he's also stupid.
This will be the great debate that goes on for however long this podcast lasts, for sure.
He's a fucking moron.
So it says the range estimates that appear on the dashboard ignored external factors like weather, extreme hot or cold temps can dramatically impact how far electric cars travel.
That's what everyone with electric car says. Like your range gets cut in half during the winter.
Yeah. It says when customers noticed that their range wasn't matching the dashboard estimates and called the company to make appointments, Tesla employees would follow directives to tell customers they'd performed remote diagnostics and cancel the appointment.
Oh my God.
That's pretty wild, man. So I'm surprised people aren't asking like for their money back. Like, take your Tesla back. It's false advertising. This is bullshit. I don't want it. I'll go buy another car.
Well, the thing about Teslas too is like I'll grant that they're cool. Like there's a cool factor to a Tesla,
Definitely.
and they're fast.
Mhm.
But like if you're actually inside a Tesla versus being inside like a regular like luxury car, they're not that nice.
They're pretty nice though. I mean, they're not as nice like when you walk into maybe like a top level Benz or Beamer.
A bottom level Benz. I mean, or they're as nice as a top trim level, Hyundai or Ford that has like the leather seats in it. They're not like extravagantly nice vehicles, and they're kind of shittily made. Like you ever like just look at a Tesla and just start going, oh, there's a lot of weird panel gappage going on that thing. Yeah, but panel gaps aside, because they have gotten better from what I hear. But like when you're inside a Tesla, because Teslas are considered like a luxury car. Yeah, I don't understand how, because they're like
probably
really not
probably based on the price, and it's a sedan, right? So, like, I don't know what a Tesla goes for because Teslas were really never my thing. What does a Tesla run you? Like a base level Tesla?
A Model 3, after the tax credits, you could get a Model 3 for under 40 grand if it's the base model. The upper end Model 3s run you up probably closer to 50. The Model Ys are around 40 to 50. So, like, you could get the Model Y or the Model 3 for not really that much.
And how much is like your most expensive car?
Oh, the Model S's, I think they start out around like 75 or 80. So those are pretty expensive. And then that S Plaid, where it's like 0 to 60 like 2 seconds or something like that, is like 120 or 100 grand.
So that car is about as nice as like a Ford Explorer on the inside. You're saying basically?
Yeah, I've been in Teslas. Like I've had friends who've had Teslas. I'm like, there's a cool factor to them. I'm not going to deny that. I've contemplated buying a Tesla before I honestly, like the whole Elon Musk thing. He's just so off-putting.
I know that they don't drive themselves anywhere near as well.
No, that's bullshit. That's total. The whole self-driving thing is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
I had a Hyundai Santa Cruz, and it's when you put the lane keep assist on with the steering maneuver or whatever, the steering thing, it's basically the same as a self-driving Tesla on the highway. Like seriously, like it stays in its lane. Like I've driven from Omaha to Lincoln, which is a 45-minute drive on the highway in that Hyundai, and I had my hand on the steering wheel all of 5 out of the 45 minutes. You know.
Yeah. I know that there have been a lot of accidents of people that like hit cars and people because of self-driving not working.
Yeah, because it's bullshit. It's not. It doesn't work. And he's been claiming that's one of the things that Elon Musk keeps claiming is like, oh, we'll have self-driving. So he's charging people all this money for this thing that doesn't even work. It's complete horse crap. So it says I can't stand him. Like everything with him just comes off fraudy and scammy.
It says that the company reportedly went as far as to create an entire Las Vegas-based diversion team devoted to quieting customer complaints about the inaccurate range, a group that was told by managers it saved Tesla $1,000 for every appointment it canceled.
Wow. Yeah, dude, that's outrageous.
That's kind of scummy for sure.
Yeah. It the whole thing just sounds I don't know. It's one of those reasons why like I was really hard up for getting an electric car a couple of years ago. Now I'm like, gas until I die. Fuck it, Seriously. I'm like, let's just keep going with the gas. You can't buy an electric car in a manual transmission anyways, and those are fun. So
yeah. Is that what you drive? You drive a stick?
No. I've had plenty of sticks in the past. My current car, it's one of those like dual clutch transmissions. It's kind of like a sports car, but it's got like those 8-speed dual clutch transmissions. That's kind of like it's a cross between an automatic and a manual.
I've had a bunch of them, but I hate driving stick like in highway traffic. It's the worst.
Well, that's the reason why we got the car and the dual clutch was we didn't because when you're driving back and forth from work, which is like 80% of your driving anyways, it was going to be in like stop and go traffic, so we didn't want the manual transmission. And the car that we got, the manual transmission didn't come with the sunroof. You had to get the dual clutch transmission in order to get the sunroof. And at our age, when you buy a car without a sunroof, you just feel like a peasant. So you had to get the sunroof. So we wanted to give you the dual clutch transmission option.
All right. So that's our weekly Elon Musk.
The crazy thing about this story is there's like literally nothing you read in that story was surprising to me. Like that just all sounds like scammy bullshit, which like literally everything from Elon Musk always sounds like scammy bullshit to me. So I'm like, oh wow, more scammy bullshit from Elon Musk. That's insane.
All right. So
it's a class action suit though, don't you think?
I would think it didn't say anything about it in the article, but I mean, there's class action suits these days for everything, so it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk is a scam artist and Tesla's full of shit. So surprise on that one.
All right. And we move on. So it's been very hot in the Midwest. It's been hot over here on the East Coast also, but it has been absurdly hot in Arizona. Phoenix snaps 31-day heat streak where the daily temperature reached 100 degrees or higher.
110 degrees or higher.
110 degrees. I'm sorry. Yeah, 110
That's absurd.
degrees. That's crazy town, man. I know that the West Coast heat isn't like our heat. It's way less humidity, but still, man, even
Well,
dry heat's brutal too.
what the West Coast heat is beautiful. You're talking like San Diego, LA, all that. Phoenix is a fucking desert.
Yeah, but like dry heat in general, I don't think is as bad as like humidity heat, like in Florida and like the East Coast. It gets brutal.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That Phoenix heat wave, it kind of makes me wonder because being from where I'm at, like all the old people move to Arizona or Florida when they retire. So I know a few people who are in Arizona right now, like built their house down there, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. They're not even retired yet. It's they work for a company that went complete remote work. So they're like, oh well, we work remotely, so they just built a house in Phoenix and moved down there. But yeah, I don't get it. It's so hot.
Yeah, it's crazy. It says a record string of daily highs over 110 degrees Fahrenheit in Phoenix ended on Monday, as the dangerous heat wave that suffocated the Southwest throughout July receded slightly with cooling monsoon rains.
So
The
what did it cool down to? 100 degrees?
It doesn't say,
Oh,
but
it does.
probably like 95. I mean, how cold can it get in the desert in the summertime?
Go
Probably
down,
not.
and it does tell you where it finally broke.
So it says the historic heat began blasting the region in June, stretching from Texas across New Mexico and Arizona and into California's desert. Phoenix and its suburbs sweltered more and longer than most, with several records, including the 31 consecutive days of 110 degrees plus weather. The previous record was 18 straight days set in 1974.
Well, they
The streak,
shattered the record then.
yeah. The streak was finally broken on Monday when the high topped out at 108. What, man? What? Okay, so basically the streak is still going then. What do you mean?
A nice, cool 108 degrees.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense. The streak's done? It's not done. It took a break. It took a lunch break.
It didn't even take a lunch break. It took a 15.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. The record streak of 31 straight days at 110 plus has ended, the Weather Service said on social media. The high temperature at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport reached 108 this afternoon, which is only 2 degrees above normal. What? Wait a minute. So the normal is 106?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And that's the crazy thing about like Phoenix is it's like the 5th biggest city in the country. Isn't it? Or something like that. It's like the fastest growing metropolitan area in the country.
I have no idea.
Well, my problem with that is it shouldn't even exist.
Like Phoenix?
Yeah, it should not even be a city.
Why?
It is a monument to man's hubris and arrogance that we built a 6 million plus metropolitan area in a spot that shouldn't even have inhabitants.
Oh, you're saying that this is the quintessential humans do it because we can, basically?
Yes. You shouldn't have a city or maybe a metro area of 6 million people in the middle of a fucking desert.
It's crazy. It is a little crazy when you think about it, for sure.
And that goes for Las Vegas too. And then you go and we
First of all, how dare you? How dare you?
Las
Vegas is my Disney World, so why don't you settle down? Okay.
Hey, Las Vegas is every grown-ass man's Disney World. I'm just stating facts here. Like the issue too is you have those, they're draining the rivers. Like come another 20, 30 years from now, are you even going to be able to build in Arizona? Are they even going to have water sources? I mean, you have all these lakes and rivers drying up around the area because they're like siphoning off all this water. And it's also the land of golf courses. The friends I have who move down there, they golf every day.
Here I am thinking like this is,
you have any idea how much water it takes to maintain a golf course, and it's a golf course in a desert. Like,
I don't know where. I don't even know where they pull their water from. It's got to
the
be
Colorado River, Rio Grande River. I mean, it's just insane. You're going to have water wars with all these Western states. The Republicans and Democrats are talking about online about how we're going to have a civil war because, red states versus blue states because they're all mad at each other about that. No, you're going to have a civil war in the Western United States over nothing to do with politics, but about who gets to pull water out of the Colorado River.
Here I am thinking that this is like some big deal. 31 straight days, 110 degrees. And they're like, yeah, the normal's 106. What? Well, then who cares about this streak? It's not even a streak. It's Tuesday. What does that even mean?
I just think that's insane. Well, when you have like record heat waves going on in the deserts right now and all these heat waves and people are still saying, oh, climate change is a hoax. I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little worried about it.
Climate change is definitely not a hoax. Definitely not. My kid and my kid's kid is in trouble. No doubt. 100%.
Yeah, I think you and I are like the last generation that's actually going to be able to be like cool and shit.
Let's hope it's my daughter is the last. Please, God.
I don't know, man. I'm just convinced that like millennials are like the last generation that'll be able to like live to old age and die without the world being like.
You're not a millennial though, are you?
Yeah, I'm like 39.
Yeah, but I'm 42 and I'm Generation X.
You're an in-betweener. What year were you born? Like 1981?
1980. I think that's the last year for Generation X.
You can claim both.
I'll stick with Generation X. Thank you.
No, but seriously, yeah, you can claim both. Well, that's the annoying thing about boomers is like they still refer to like teenagers and 20-year-olds as millennials.
So then what's Abby? Like at 14?
Your daughter?
Yeah, like that's not millennial?
Dude, she missed millennial by like 20 fucking years.
Oh, did she? So she's some other name? I don't know. I have no idea.
She's whatever comes after Gen Z.
Generation Y? I don't know.
No, like Gen Z is after millennial.
Oh, okay. So she's a Gen Z then.
No, she's not. Gen Z is like all in college.
Oh, so she's whatever comes after Gen Z.
Yeah, you are talking like a fucking baby boomer right now because
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
No, because baby boomers still refer to 20-year-olds as millennials, forgetting about the fact that time moves forward.
And my mom's a boomer. Your mom's a boomer. We came from boomers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like they still refer to young people as millennials when I'm like, millennials are all like in their 30s and early 40s, right?
I thought Abby was a millennial. I had no idea. I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't know.
You thought your daughter, who was born in 2000 and like
I thought that they were all like
2010.
Yeah, millennial, 2008 millennials. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Let's move on.
We're way off the topic of the Phoenix Heat.
Yeah. So basically, if you're watching this, the Phoenix Heat Wave means shit. It literally means nothing. I should have read the whole article first. That's my fault. But Florida man segment. Actually, Florida woman the last 2 weeks. Florida woman sentenced after pulling an alligator out of her pants at a traffic stop. Thoughts?
All right. I'm going to just throw this out here, okay? After last week's Florida woman who stole a fire truck.
Yeah.
And the other Florida woman who hired a hitman for her 3-year-old.
Yep.
And just reading this headline here, Florida woman pulling alligator out of her pants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Florida women are fucking crazier than the men.
I mean, the guy.
I've seen some absurd Florida man stories, but these last 3 with these broads. Oh my God, something.
The guy that governs this state wants to be president. A lot of shit goes down in this state.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. My sister lives in Florida. I asked her, I'm like, hey, what's up with your governor? And she's like, I don't know, man. I'm like, hey, he's running for president now. Like, he's in the big boy spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm like, he seems a little weird. That's all I'm saying. He's
in the big boy spotlight now. Florida woman sentenced after pulling gator from pants during traffic stops. So, move over, Florida man. A Florida woman pulled. See, that's just a great way to start. These people know the deal. This is CBS News Miami. So the people in Florida are well aware of the people in Florida. Move over, Florida man. A Florida woman who pulled a small alligator from her yoga pants during a traffic stop has been sentenced to probation after pleading guilty to 4 charges. That is a sentence.
All right, hold on.
Can I repeat that sentence? Move over, Florida man. A Florida woman who pulled a small alligator from her yoga pants during a traffic stop has been sentenced to probation after pleading guilty to 4 charges. Go ahead.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
At any point in your life, were you thinking, at some point in the future, I will read the sentence, Florida woman pulled a small alligator from her yoga pants during a traffic stop?
Listen, man, in 2023 comes at you fast. So I mean, nothing shocks me anymore. Nothing. Not even this.
Honestly, you just expect it.
Yeah, you do. Especially from this state.
I mean, if you're not smuggling baby alligators in your hoo-ha and your yoga pants, I mean, what are you even living?
Exactly. Exactly my point. I agree. All right. It says Florida prosecutors say a Charlotte County Sheriff's deputy stopped a pickup truck in May after it ran a stop sign. The driver, 22-year-old Mike Clemens, told the deputy he and his 25-year-old passenger, Ariel, I don't know, Laqueer, were collecting frogs and snakes under an overpass.
Jesus Christ. That is so. All right. That is like a really white trash activity. I'm sorry. That's just
collecting frogs and snakes under an overpass. Yeah,
they live in a trailer.
Probably.
They smoke meth. It said pickup truck. I guarantee you that pickup truck is like a 1998 Dodge Dakota.
That's not nice. That's not nice. He gave the deputy permission to search bags in the trunk. When the deputy found 41 3-striped turtles in a Teenage Mutant Ninja... Nope. Let me one more time. When the deputy found 41 3-striped turtles in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle backpack, he asked if Laqueer had anything else. She pulled the 1-foot alligator from her pants. Officials say the Clemens case is pending. I think we have video, so let's enjoy this.
A 1-foot alligator just in her pants.
Yeah.
What if it crawled up her cooter?
I mean, I don't know.
That would be quite the predicament, wouldn't it?
I don't know where it's been. It could have been there. How do I know?
This is insane. Do we need the video? It's taking forever to load.
I mean, I guess we don't.
If it's going to take that long to load, who cares?
Yeah, I guess we don't. Yeah, but I mean, crazy, man, crazy.
That is a Florida story. I'll tell you something.
That is a Florida story.
I cannot believe those words were read out loud.
Yeah, well, listen, man. Florida is a weird state, and we have a second Florida segment, and it's another. Apparently, Apparently, leprosy is still a thing in Florida. I didn't know if you know that.
Hold on.
Is leprosy
plague?
still a thing? I thought it wasn't a thing anymore, right? I haven't. When is the last time you heard about leprosy?
The last time I heard about leprosy?
Yeah.
It was a Jeff Foxworthy joke. That's the last time I heard about leprosy.
Well, apparently.
Wait, hold on. And the joke was specifically about
don't say Florida.
Not saying stupid crap when you call into work, like saying, "Hey, I got leprosy." It was a bad joke. My parents used to listen to Jeff Foxworthy. He's a very corny comedian. That's literally the only time I've ever heard about leprosy outside of work.
Well, apparently, leprosy could become endemic to Florida.
Endemic, as it just hangs around?
Yeah, that's what it says.
What the fuck?
Rising cases of leprosy in the southeast U.S. point to the possibility of the disease becoming endemic to the region, and a high concentration of those cases were reported in Central Florida. To the surprise
you gotta be shitting me.
I swear to God. According to a recently published research letter published by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the Emerging Infectious Disease Journal, Florida is witnessing an increase in leprosy cases. Lacking traditional risk factors, and travel to Florida should be considered when conducting leprosy contact tracing in any state. The number of reported leprosy cases across the country has doubled over the past decade, according to the report.
5 to 10?
I don't know. Citing data from National Hansen's Disease Program, the report says there were 159 new cases reported in the U.S. in 2020. Nearly 70% of these cases were reported in Florida, California, Louisiana, Hawaii, New York, and Texas.
Those states aren't really connected.
They aren't.
I mean, you got New York, fucking Hawaii? That's like way off in the... You forget they even exist out there in those islands.
I don't even... Oh, God. That's what leprosy is? Fucking hell.
Yeah, some kind of like skin disease or something.
Leprosy, scientifically known as Hansen's disease, has never been common in the U.S., with most cases previously involving people who immigrated from leprosy endemic areas. But the new report shows that about 34% of the reported cases between 2015 and 2020 were locally acquired.
What the
fucking Florida.
We have biblical diseases in Florida now.
Yeah. Apparently in California, too. And New York.
Well, not here in Nebraska, thank goodness. Keep that shit away.
About the Florida leprosy outbreak. According to the report, Florida...
Hold on. Say that again. About the...
Yeah, so about that Florida leprosy outbreak. According to the report, Florida may represent an endemic location for leprosy and recommends that physicians consider leprosy in the appropriate clinical context in patients who have traveled to the area, even in the absence of other risk factors. Here's why. Okay.
Don't you only get leprosy by spiting God? Like,
I don't know how you get it. I don't know. Florida is among the top reporting states for leprosy. 80% of cases in Florida were in Central Florida. Central
that's like
Florida,
Orlando, right?
That's what?
That's like Orlando, Disney World.
Central? Probably.
Yeah, Orlando's like right smack dab in the middle.
Probably.
So it's just all people, either it's the UCF campus or Disney World, like just giving everyone leprosy.
Or Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Central. Oh, you know what? I bet you anything, fucking the mouse is pissed off at Ron DeSantis, and they're just giving everyone leprosy now.
So basically, 1 in 5 cases that have been discovered in the last 5 years have come from Florida, Central Florida. Wow. Several new case patients in Central Florida demonstrated no clear evidence of zoonotic exposure or traditionally known risk factors. I don't know what zoonotic means. Couldn't tell you. Do you know what
zoonotic? Yeah, it's from you caught it from an animal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, wild.
The zoonotic exposure though was from the mouse. The mouse is pissed off at that Florida governor is going after Disney. So I bet you anything, this is just a Disney plot to fucking make DeSantis look bad.
I don't really know, but I have to tell you, man, I haven't even seen the word leprosy in print in 15, 20 years. Like
dude, I've only heard about leprosy from like the Bible. Like everyone in the Bible who was sick was a leper. I grew up in a religious household. I read a lot of the Bible growing up. There was a lot of leprosy in the Bible. Outside of that, I've never heard of it.
I will take your word for that and believe you. But yeah, I've never heard it. I haven't seen it in print probably in 2 decades.
Yeah.
So apparently leprosy is still a thing, and don't move to Central Florida. Those are the two things that I'm
canceling my trip to Disney World. I'll tell you that.
What a shit. Go to Disneyland. That's in California. Oh, actually, that might not be better, depending on where you go in California. Because apparently the lepers are in California also.
Oh, God. Where?
All right. Trump article of the week. Our guy, Donnie Trump, says it's unpleasant that he has to keep telling his wife, Melania, every time he gets indicted.
Then quit fucking getting indicted.
I've never had that problem before. I've never had to feel uncomfortable telling my my other half that I keep getting indicted. My bad. But apparently our guy Donnie, he feels uncomfortable in the fact that he has to keep telling his wife, honey, I got indicted again.
That's funny too, because they send you a letter like notifying you're about to be indicted. He's like, again? What?
So it says,
third time, right?
What?
He's on number 3 now, isn't he?
Oh, wife?
Well, that too, but third indictment.
Third wife for sure. I think there's been more than 3 indictments, hasn't there?
Well, there's an indictment that came down yesterday. There's the stuff about those documents. He supposedly, there's the New York indicted him about like tax fraud or something.
You could read this.
And I want to say Georgia, but I don't think Georgia's indicted him yet, but that one's probably coming. Former President Donald Trump says it is never a pleasant experience telling his wife about his many legal troubles. The quick crimes. It's always unpleasant when you have to go in and tell your wife that, by the way, tomorrow sometime I'm going to be indicted. Trump told a radio host John Fredericks on the July 28th episode of John Fredericks Show. Oh, so he said this before he got indicted yesterday.
Yeah.
And she says, for what? And I say, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. That's a lie. I have no idea why I'm getting indicted.
That sounds like a normal married couple, but it's just not about indictments. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trump has been arraigned in 2 separate investigations, 3 now. In April, he was arrested and charged in connection with hush money payments made to the porn actress Stormy Daniels.
Which is bullshit. He shouldn't be indicted for that. I
know. You know what? If you can't pay off a porn star that you fucked to shut up, then like what country are we living in?
Are we even in America anymore?
Yeah, like seriously. Prostitutes, porn stars, they all should be paid hush money. I mean, I don't think that should be a crime.
100%.
Although I think it was because he used campaign dollars to pay her off. But I mean, tomato, whatever.
Exactly.
And in June, he was arraigned for a second time in Florida and accused of mishandling top secret information. That's probably the big one at the moment. Prosecutors say he violated the Espionage Act 31 times and lied.
31.
He has 31 counts against him on that document case. The former president was also hit with a superseding indictment on July 27th in relation to the Mar-a-Lago documents case. I don't know what a superseding indictment means, but it sounds bad. This was after additional charges were brought against him for obstructing the investigation by attempting to delete surveillance footage at his Mar-a-Lago resort. You see, that's the problem. He's like, oh, I'll just delete the evidence. Like, that's evidence tampering. That's another crime. That's another charge.
I'm so happy Donald Trump exists.
He is pure comedy.
Pure comedy. Yeah, he's pure comedy. It's so good.
While Trump has attempted to appear unfazed by his legal problems, staffers say he's often fearful of his wife and her reactions to what he does. I can't believe she puts up with this shit. For one, Trump took 2 hours before finally going to face Melania after the infamous Access Hollywood tape was released back in, I don't care about that Access. Oh, I grabbed him by the pussy. Kellyanne Conway of Trump's senior White House aide said in November 28 testimony to the House panel investigation, or investigating the Capitol riot, that Trump only fears Melania. Hold on, let me say that again. Kellyanne Conway, one of Trump's senior White House aides, said in a November 28 testimony to the House panel investigating the Capitol riot that Trump only fears Melania.
I mean,
basically he's pussy whipped.
Bro, I mean that's a good pussy to be whipped by. No complaints. No complaints here.
He listens to many of us, but he reserves fear for one person, Melania Trump, Conway told the committee's investigation. A representative for Trump did not immediately respond to a request for comment from insiders sent outside regular business hours.
So, like, you heard about when he first got elected, right? When he first got elected, and he was, before he went out to do his acceptance speech, she was in the back, like, reportedly hysterically crying in tears that he had to go be the president of the United States.
I did not hear about that.
I mean, think about it, bro. Think about the life that lady lived before he runs for office and eventually wins. Like, get on a plane, go shopping at the Riviera, then, you know, get on
she lives in a penthouse in New York.
Yeah, get on a yacht for the summer, and now, like, you have no choice but to go be the first lady at the White House. Like, she never in a million years, when she went to marry this guy, thought that she would have to deal with any of this shit. So, like,
yeah, I do feel bad for her.
Right? I kind of do too. But I mean, God, I don't know. But yeah, that good old Donnie Boy Trump. And I guess we could just go right into the newest indictment, right? Might as well touch on this a bit. So, 6 things we learned from the new Trump indictment.
Another one.
Yeah. The new charges against Trump may not be the first indictment against the former president, but they almost certainly include the most serious charges. The indictment itself, a 45-page document laying out Trump's scheme to subvert democracy and remain in power after he lost the 2020 election, includes a number of new revelations. You want to read that?
Yeah, Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, as well as his actions on January 6th, have been well documented. Congress dedicated an entire special committee to showing how Trump acted inappropriately. And I didn't watch any of those hearings, by the way.
Me either.
Yeah, they were like on like primetime TV too. And I'm like, I'm going to see what's on Netflix. Anyways, so as rioters attacked the Capitol, but DOJ Special Prosecutor Jack Smith was still able to unearth new details that have never been previously disclosed. Here are the 6 revelations. All right. Trump was trying to delay election certification during the January 6th attack. That's not a revelation. We kind of know that.
Yeah.
The indictment notes that after it became clear Vice President Mike Pence would not fraudulently alter the election results, the attack on the U.S. Capitol halted the electoral certification. As violence ensued, the indictment claims the defendant and co-conspirators exploited the disruption by redoubling efforts to levy false claims of election fraud and convince members of Congress to further delay the certification based on those claims. Yeah, that's not a new revelation. We know that.
Right.
He refused to send in the National Guard for like literally hours. Like they had Mike Pence and all the congressional leaders.
I mean, when you have people like Laura Ingraham begging you to go apologize, I mean, you've done some shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, like begging you to say stop, go home, get away from the Capitol. Everything's going to be fine. I appreciate it. Like she was begging him to do that, and he. I mean, almost the whole nightly lineup at Fox News was begging him to do that. Well, Tucker Carlson's not there anymore, but I mean, yeah, crazy.
It says during and after violence at the Capitol, Trump and Giuliani kept pressuring GOP lawmakers to delay the certification. Well, we know Giuliani's batshit crazy, and Giuliani just admitted to lying about that Georgia elector scheme that he claimed that was going on too. Like, so now Giuliani under oath has had to like admit that he was full of shit the whole time.
Right.
Go scroll down. All right. It has been known that Trump personally called Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican from Alabama, on the afternoon of January 6th, though he apparently dialed Senator Mike Lee by accident first.
Hold on, pause. How funny is it that people have to they have to I can't think of the word I'm looking for. When like Tommy Tuberville, now he's Senator Tommy Tuberville, they have to call him, not the Auburn football coach forever. Like now he's a senator. It's so weird.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like everybody for years when he was a football coach, it was always Tommy Tuberville, and now like everyone in other media or whatever, like if you ever see it like on CNN or Fox, they all call him Tuberville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all these like pundits who didn't know him when he was a football coach, he's always Tommy Tuberville. Tuberville.
Yeah.
Since when the freaking hell was he Tommy Tuberville? It's always been, but. Anyways, I digress. But so he accidentally called Mike Lee from Utah first. But the indictment reveals for the first time the extent of Trump and Giuliani's efforts to continue pushing lawmakers to delay the certification process. During and after the worst of the violence at the Capitol, none of these lawmakers were named in the indictment. At 6:01 p.m., Trump finally urged rioters to go home in love and peace, according to the indictment. At 6 p.m., Trump, through aides, attempted to reach 2 senators on the phone. An hour later, Giuliani placed calls to 5 congressmen and 1 senator. At the same time, co-conspirator number 6, wonder who that is, was attempting to track down phone numbers for 6 more senators that Trump had directed Giuliani to contact. Giuliani left a voicemail for a senator in which he said, "We need you, our Republican friends, to try to just slow it down so we can get these legislatures to get more information to you. And I know they're reconvening at 8 tonight, but the only strategy we can follow is to object to numerous states and raise issues so that we get ourselves into tomorrow, ideally until the end of tomorrow." Yeah, so basically, like, I don't understand what they think delaying it's going to do.
Right.
In another voicemail, Giuliani repeated false claims about the 2020 election fraud, said Pence's actions were surprising, and asked the senator to object to every state and kind of spread this out a little bit like a filibuster. Like, the funny thing is like literally for like 250 years, this whole counting the electoral college votes has always just been like some kind of like ceremonial formality. It's not like.
It was so wild, man. Like that was the one thing that Mike Pence did, like that night, where he was like, "Listen, man, the joke's over. I'm not stopping this. What happened. He's the new president. It is what it is." And like diehard Trump supporters wanted to rip Mike Pence apart. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, Mike Pence was saying, he's like, there's no constitutional basis for me to, quote, override the electoral votes. Like, this is literally just a ceremony. It's just, a process we do.
Right.
The votes are in.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they were in, but I mean, he's already indicted for wanting somebody to find 12,000 more votes. Where was that? That was Arizona, right?
Oh no, are you talking about the phone call where he was on the phone?
Yeah. 11,008. We got to find 11,000.
That's Georgia.
Oh, okay.
That was I remember, and this was before January 6th when I remember it was probably November when that phone call came out.
Right.
That phone call was back in November of 2020. It was like
right.
after the election.
Right.
And they and I remember it was like a 35-minute phone call, and there was a bunch of podcasts and news people who had the whole recording. And I remember listening to the recording where he's just like talking to the Georgia Secretary of State saying, "No, you got to find me these votes." And the Georgia Secretary of State's like, "Bro, you lost. Like, there's nothing I can do. You lost Georgia. I'm sorry. I wanted you to win. I voted for you personally because I'm a Republican. Georgia."
Right.
He's like, "You lost." And Trump is like, "Just find me the votes." And I remember listening to that tape, and I'm like, I think Trump's committing a crime here. Like this is a. And sure enough, they're saying that the Georgia tape is the state of Georgia. It's not, they can't do it. I don't think it's a federal one, but they're talking about the state of Georgia's closing down on indictment on that one. So it's like this whole January 6th thing. Yeah, it's just crazy. So what else do we have here? During the meeting on January 3rd, co-conspirator number 4 spoke to Patrick Philbin and Deputy White House counsel, who warned that there would be riots in every major city in the United States if Trump remained in office. Co-conspirator number 4 replied to Philbin, "That's why there's an Insurrection Act. That law, enacted in 1807, empowers the president to deploy federal troops within the United States to suppress civil disorder."
That would have been the end of the country, bro. That we would have been a mess for a while.
They're basically saying, "Oh, we'll declare martial law to keep Trump in office."
Yeah, that's exactly what he just said. Yeah.
Then on January 4th, a Trump senior advisor told co-conspirator number 2 that their plan to overturn the election would cause riots in the streets. At that point, according to the indictment, co-conspirator number 2 said there have been points in American history where violence was necessary to preserve the country. Okay.
Wild.
Trump personally reinserted language attacking Pence into his January 6th speech. I mean, honestly, I feel bad for Mike Pence. Like,
fuck that guy. I don't feel bad for Mike Pence.
He's such a fucking pussy. And Trump just kind of ran over him. And I don't feel bad for Mike Pence.
That guy doesn't want my kid to have an abortion one day if she wants it. So fuck that guy.
My problem with Mike Pence is, like, he's such a bitch. Like, he cucked himself so bad to Trump. And, yeah. So the indictment claims that at 11:15 a.m., Trump called Pence once again and pressured him to fraudulently reject or return Biden's legitimate electoral votes. Pence once again refused because he can't. He has no.
Yeah.
Immediately after the call, the defendant decided to single out the vice president in public. The defendant would be Trump, by the way. The defendant decided to single out the vice president in public remarks he would make within the hour, reinserting language that he had personally drafted earlier that morning, falsely claiming that the vice president had authority to send electoral votes to the states, but that advisors had previously successfully advocated he be removed. So his advisors told him he has to take that out of his speech because it's bullshit, and he reinserted it. We knew Trump had inserted language going after Pence into his January 6th speech, but we didn't know that aides had removed that language only to have Trump reinsert the language again. God, this guy. Trump privately said he'd give a national security crisis to the next guy. On January 6th, Trump indicated he knew he was imminently leaving office during a meeting with top national security officials. According to the indictment, General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, briefed Trump on the unspecified overseas national security issue, which had previously come up in December and presented options for Trump to address it. When Milley and another official advised Trump against acting on the situation so close to the transfer of power, the president agreed. Yeah, you're right. It's too late for us. We're going to give that to the next guy. That kind of tells me Trump knew he fucking lost.
That definitely suggests that. But that's something that I would think most presidents do as they're going out of office, right? Leave that for the next guy. It's going to be his mess anyway.
I mean, I would imagine. But what that tells me is that Trump knows he's lying.
100%. Yeah. He wouldn't have said that if he didn't know that he lost and he would eventually not be in office anymore. Yeah, I agree there.
So Mike Pence took contemporaneous notes. That's a word. Contemporaneous notes of a damning meeting with Trump. We are too stupid to opine on this stuff, man. The indictment notes that Pence took that word again. Notes during one meeting with Trump and alleged co-conspirator John Eastman.
All that means is at the time. That's all.
Did you just Google contemporaneous?
No, contemporaneous means like you're doing it at the time. That's why those notes mean more than if he just wrote them down today, recollecting what happened back then. These notes were taken in real time. That's what contemporaneous means.
Well, look at you fucking thesaurus. All right.
That's what I do.
You're not as stupid as I thought. The indictment alleges that Trump knowingly false claims of election fraud during the meeting. Knowingly made false claims of it says alleges that Trump knowingly false claims of election. That's a stupid sentence. It's knowingly made. They're word.
Yeah, they're missing a word. Yeah.
I thought I was being an idiot reading that.
Listen, man, it's the Daily Beast. That's what you expect.
Bottom line won every state by hundreds of thousands of votes, Trump said, according to Pence notes. So he said he won every state by hundreds of thousands of votes. Okay. The president claimed he won every state and asked about a claim that senior Justice Department officials had previously told him was false. The alleged claim that there were 205,000 more votes than voters in Pennsylvania. According to Pence's notes, Eastman asked Pence to either unilaterally reject the legitimate electors from 7 states that Trump wanted to dispute, or to at least send the question of which slate of electors was legitimate back to the state legislatures.
So
that's the other thing too. It's like there's no.
I'm an independent. I try to be an independent. I think that, both sides have good things that they do and bad things that they do. But the one thing that Republicans do that Democrats do not do is push this myth of voter fraud. Does it exist? Yes. Is it probably 1 in every million votes are fake? I would assume it's some like crazy ratio like that. It is nowhere near what Republicans on the Hill push as a major problem for the elections in our country. It's just false. It's just not true. There is no voter fraud.
Well, you know why they claim voter fraud, right? Because suppressing the vote's basically the only way they can win. Like Republicans haven't won the popular vote nationwide.
Right. Well, that and gerrymandering.
Yeah, but like exactly, like gerrymandering and voter suppression is how they win elections. Like Republican voters don't want to listen to that. But
gerrymandering is a big deal for sure.
Yeah, like Ohio is like 52% Republican, and they have 18 legislative districts, and they have 18 Congress people in that state, and they only have like 3 Democratic congressmen out of like 18 or something. So,
and if you pull up like the graphs of gerrymandering, it's crazy, bro, what they do to try to get like Republican senaters or Democratic senators where
I've seen Wisconsin's the worst of it all. Like they say, like Wisconsin, like Democrats have to get like over 60% of the vote in Wisconsin legislature for like the state level legislature, Democrats have to get over 60% of the vote just to get 50% of the legislature. It's like so absurd.
Yeah.
And I remember in my state, the only reason why they didn't gerrymander it like to oblivion in my state is because the Democrats have like there's a filibuster. So basically, like the Republicans can't pass anything with a simple majority in my state. They have to have some Democrats agree to it if they want to filibuster it. So obviously, when you're talking about redistricting, Democrats are going to filibuster the shit out of any like ridiculous gerrymander.
The one thing that okay.
So that's basically like it's what keeps my state from being absurdly gerrymandered. And they're trying to gerrymander and the funny thing is like my state's 2/3 Republican anyways, and they're still like, that's not enough. We need it to be, 3/4 Republican. It's fucking outrageous.
The two things that Republicans are just so much better than Democrats at are one, pushing a narrative, and two, because they'll solely focus around the narrative, and it will literally be recited like it's a script from every Republican on the Hill, and they do that way better than Democrats, and it's a big reason why they got elected in 2016. But the other thing is they'll do whatever it takes. They're
shameless.
Democrats, they just don't do whatever it takes, but listen, I'm not saying Democrats are perfect. They aren't. They're trying. My biggest issue with Democrats right now is they're trying to kill free speech a lot of like, I hate the cancel culture thing, man. Like, yeah, Democrats and Republicans, everybody does stupid shit. But like the Democrats, the super far left that comes out of the woodwork to just shit on somebody and kill them in a bad moment, and that should be the reason why they shouldn't be able to make a living. Like, I'm not down with that. I hate that shit.
That's coastal Democrats.
But you know what? That is something that Republicans don't do. They don't do that. You know what I mean? But they do. They also have their issues, obviously. But I mean, yeah, Republicans are really good at doing whatever it takes, and they're very good at pushing a narrative to get the job done.
Yeah, that I cannot disagree with that at all. So where were we? Oh yeah, Pence reportedly challenged Eastman on whether he was allowed to do that. Well, nobody's tested before, Eastman said, according to Pence's notes. Let me go back. According to Pence's notes. Yeah, according to Pence's notes, Eastman asked Pence to either unilaterally reject the legitimate electors, or just put him back to the states. And he's like, can I do that? He's like, I don't think I can do that. They're like, well, no one's tried it.
Right.
All right. So Pence apparently seized on that challenge, to challenge Trump. Did you hear that? Even your own counsel is not saying I have that authority, he allegedly said. Trump then told Pence that was okay because he preferred the first option. Pence just unilaterally rejecting legitimate electors anyways. Like, he can't do that, though. That's the funny thing. So first option is to just unilaterally reject the first electors or send it back to the states for new electors. But that's not like how it works with electors. Like, I don't think people realize that. Like, these electors are they're designated by the state party.
Yeah.
Well, electors are all just partisans, most of them. Basically what happens is like, okay, the state, the Democrat won this state or the Republican won this state, and that state party will assign, they already have their slate of electors for if they win.
Right.
And that's who it is. Those are the electors. That's who they vote. There's no, send the electors back for new ones. Send them back to the states. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure that there'll be more indictments coming down the pike.
It's insane.
Would anything surprise you at this point? I mean, the guy is so entertaining. I love him. I'll be honest.
I don't know. Like, honestly, like if he wins the 2024 election while in jail and then just pardons himself and gets out of jail for that would not surprise me.
Yeah, but can you be a felon and be a president? No,
Yeah,
right? Oh, you can.
yeah. There's only a couple things that exclude you.
But
There's like sedition.
But you can't vote, right? If you're a felon.
It's state by state.
Like, if you can't vote, how can you be the president?
It's not like that in every state. You can have your voting rights reinstated if you're a felon.
Oh, okay.
It depends on each. It depends on how each state does it. Like some states, they like you apply for to be re-eligible. Because I've had some friends who are like felons who got their voting rights back, and other ones haven't. But yeah, they're able to get their voting rights back, and it just depends on the state and how the laws work and if there's a process or not. But it doesn't matter if you can vote. Not being able to vote doesn't exclude you from running for president.
I didn't know that. So
yeah.
So that's our weekly Trump story, right? But we haven't really done anything on Biden or Hunter Biden and everything that's going on there. But you sent me an article a few weeks ago that I don't know how I missed, and I don't know how I didn't hear it on the news either. And that is Marjorie Taylor Greene shows Hunter Biden's dick pic at the House Oversight Committee hearing on the
You know what? As much as I think she's a batshit crazy loon and everything she says is fucking ridiculous, Marjorie Taylor Greene is fucking hilarious.
That is wild.
She did do that.
That is fucking nuts, dude. This is where we're at. This is where we're at.
Clip?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I have the article, and I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
She shows the picture, and immediately all the Democrats on the committee are like, point of order. What the hell?
I mean, like that if that's not the perfect encapsulation of where this government is in 2023, that we got people showing president's son's dick pics at committee hearings. That's where we're at, man. My daughter doesn't have a chance. That's where we're at. It's fucking bonkers crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts. So, all right, let me read this. So, yeah, nude Hunter Biden pics shown by Marjorie Taylor Greene at congressional hearing. If you've heard this already, my bad. It's a couple weeks old, but I had to talk about it because I just realized that it happened today. U.S. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, known for her opposition to the LGBTQ plus equality and all things liberal, was showing nude pictures of Hunter Biden at a congressional hearing Wednesday. The House Oversight Committee is investigating what Chairman James Comer, a Republican from Kentucky, calls the Biden family's influence peddling schemes. The younger Biden is expected to enter into a plea deal over charges of failing to pay income tax and illegally possessing a firearm, but the far right has alleged that he received favorable treatment from the U.S. Department of Justice and raised concerns about his business dealings overseas while trying to implicate his father. As Republicans attempt to make a case against the Biden family, they have focused on the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop computer. At the hearing Wednesday, Greene was literally showing dick pics taken from the laptop. U.S. Rep. Robert Garcia, a gay Democrat from California, wrote on Twitter. This is evidence of Hunter Biden making pornography, Greene said, a Georgia Republican, as documented in video included in Garcia's tweet. The pictures were sent to a foreign-based online pornography platform, she said. Others can be heard telling Greene she's exceeded her time to speak and questioning whether the committee should be viewing the pictures. Yes, we have video.
to a foreign-based amateur online pornography platform. This is evidence of Hunter Biden making sex. Excuse me, this is my time. Making pornography.
Should we be displaying this, Mr. Chairman,
to a foreign-based?
Wild.
Wild. It's a huge photo too. Look at that. See how big that photo is? It's like the
yeah. They blow billboards up when they want to get
a billboard-sized photo of Hunter Biden's dick. It's got it up there. This is evidence that he's just making pornography.
Like I said a half an hour ago, that nothing surprises me anymore. But I have to admit, bro, when you resent this to me, I was like, what, man? What?
That's absurd, isn't it? Like, what is it? The problem I have is
this is the shit that we see in Venezuela, and we're like, fucking third world countries, man.
What goes through your head as a congressperson, okay, where you're like, yeah, it's going to be a really good idea to have this dick pic blown up really big, and I'm just going to show it in a hearing. And why did she think that was going to be kosher? You know, like
I mean, like she represents what the Tea Party used to be, right? Now they're even more right than the Tea Party was, and I mean, like this is what Trump's base eats up, man. They want to see those.
Like the right hand to the Speaker of the House. McCarthy are like this.
Yeah.
You know? They're like super best friends. They're like Batman and Robin, you know. They're like Superman and Lois Lane. So basically, the Speaker of the House's best buddy is like sitting there in committee hearings, flashing porn.
Yeah.
Like, can you believe this? Look at this guy. Look at this big giant cock. Look at the cock, everybody.
Rocking out with their cock out right on the floor.
Like, what the fuck is she doing?
That is wild, man. But that, like, I'm wrong. There are still things that surprise me because I was shocked.
Like, nothing Marjorie Taylor Greene does should surprise me, but even I'm like, bitch, that was a little much, even for you.
That's another thing like that we've seen over the last 10 years are people that just they're not that bright. They're not that smart.
Oh, she is insanely stupid.
Getting elected to Congress.
Well, that the congressperson that she's feuding with now, they were used to be considered besties, and now they're just like total hate each other. That Lauren Boebert brought from Colorado.
Oh yeah.
She's borderline retarded.
Oh no,
dude! Lauren Boebert is in Congress. She doesn't even have a high school diploma.
I don't know if you know this anymore, but we can't say the R word. You can get canceled for saying the R word now.
Oh, who's going to cancel me? One of the 12 people who watch this podcast?
So
my point is, like, when you're talking about people in office,
I have one on the East Coast too. The guy in New York that's young and got elected, but it was all bullshit. Everything he said was a lie. He had no qualifications. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I blanked on his name. I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's a gay dude from New York, I think.
Yeah, the Hispanic gay guy from Brazil or something like that, or his family's from Brazil.
Something, who got elected, but apparently like all his qualifications or something were total. It was total.
Yeah,
bullshit.
No, I don't think he's a moron. He's just a con artist. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert are like legitimately just stupid.
How do you think that they get? How does a Lauren Boebert get elected? Like,
I don't know.
Is it her constituents are not that bright. Like, I don't know. Like, how does somebody get elected that is just dumb? Like, that's like me. I don't deserve to be a congressman. Are you fucking nuts? But
well,
like,
the crazy thing about her is like she's in one of the most hard right districts in the country, and she almost lost her reelection because everyone in her district like, oh my god, she's really,
is it just as easy as blowing Trump? Trump is my god. Trump is our savior.
I don't know.
Like, is that a part of it?
Yeah, they're dude. Like these
the base loves them. The base loves them.
Yeah, literally nothing. Like the more he gets indicted, the more they love him.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like Hunter Biden's dick pic got shown by Marjorie Taylor Greene in a House Oversight Committee hearing.
Yeah, like that happened.
This is why This is why when the Democrats had the House during the last go round, because the Republicans took over the House in 2022. This is why in 2020, from 2020 to 2022, when Marjorie Taylor Greene first got elected in 2020, the Democrats didn't even let her in a committee. Like she had no committee ships because they stripped her of all her committee ships because she was batshit insane. This is why. Because when you let her on committee, she starts showing dick pics. That's all I'm saying.
So,
I don't like Nancy Pelosi, but apparently she was onto something when she didn't let Marjorie Taylor Greene on the fucking committee last time.
So before we go, like if you're clicking through cable news channels, you might hear the Hunter Biden laptop story. The Hunter Biden laptop story. I've heard it a cajillion times. I have no idea what the story is or what it's even about. So
apparently he has his cock all over it.
Well, I figured that I figured that it would at least be good to touch base there, so I'll learn something in the process of doing that. You know what I mean? Do you know everything that there is to know about the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Nah, not really.
Yeah,
I know. Apparently, he has a laptop, and he was really cracked out, and he left it at a computer place because he was on a bender. And there's like a lot of info on the laptop about like his business dealings or something.
Listen, we've all been on a bender. You know what I mean? I don't hold that against anybody.
Well, yeah, but not all of us are like the sons of vice presidents and presidents and left our laptop at a computer repair shop, and the laptop had like all of our like crimes on it.
Listen, just because you're president doesn't mean your kid's not retarded. You know, it happens.
I mean, I've seen Donald and Eric Trump interviews, so I will definitely say.
All right, so Hunter Biden is at the center of a political storm like no other offspring of a president before him. Ever since Joe Biden announced he was running for president in 2019, Republicans have scrutinized his son Hunter Biden's bouts with drug addiction and his business dealings in Ukraine and China with an eye toward weakening his dad politically. That's fucked up. Like, I don't think that you should. I don't think that you should beat up somebody's kid over battling a drug addiction. That doesn't sit well with me, and it's close to home with me. Like my brother died of fucking drug overdose. So like, I don't know. That's pretty shameful, I think.
But
what?
At the same time, she's just showing off his big throbbing cock to Congress, so maybe she's bragging about that too.
President Donald Trump's first impeachment. I mean, what a sentence. That is a sentence. President Donald Trump's first impeachment was tied to a phone call in which he pressured Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to open an investigation into the Bidens. Now that Republicans have taken the majority in the House and control of investigative committees, the spotlight on Hunter Biden has intensified as members of Congress investigate his business dealings and whether they had any impact on Joe Biden's decisions as president or vice president. Hunter Biden is also the subject of more than one criminal investigation, but has reached an agreement with the Justice Department that will allow him to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges, but likely will avoid jail time. Well, then what? Then what are we talking
about? That's an out-of-date article there.
Because, this is like 3 days old.
The plea deal was rejected.
Oh, I thought this said July 23rd. This is last month. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the plea deal was rejected like 3-4 days ago, something like that.
Let me see.
Apparently the plea deal was like way too. It's really in the weeds, but basically, the prosecutors and the defendant and his attorneys had a miscommunication of what the plea deal was going to be, and then the judge even said, "I'm not even sure." And then the judge didn't even want to accept the plea deal because she didn't think it was within proper guidelines. And I think the judge is like re-reviewing it or something like that. So the plea deal was actually rejected. So it's still on the table on what's going to happen with the whole tax charges and gun charges and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But keep going.
Yeah, Hunter Biden's the younger of President Joe Biden's 2 kids, with his first wife. I don't even know what her name is. Nelia Biden, who died in a car crash in 1972, with their 1-year-old daughter Naomi. Hunter's older brother Beau, a former attorney general of Delaware, died from brain cancer in 2015. Hunter graduated from Yale Law and has worked as a lawyer, a lobbyist, and investor. He served on the board of the Ukrainian natural gas company Burisma Holdings from 2014 to 2019 and has worked on investments with Chinese companies. He's currently selling paintings through a New York art gallery.
No, the paintings that he's selling are being purchased by a Democratic donor, so that way he has money to pay back his back taxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what the painting thing is all about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically he's got like these paintings that he's selling for millions of dollars to like this big Democratic donor, and then they're using the money to pay back his tax fines.
Right.
So it's a roundabout way to get donors to pay off his legal debt. That doesn't sound corrupt at all, does it?
That sounds very corrupt.
Yeah.
So
the more you dig into like all these politicians and their corrupt dealings, like the more it just makes you go, I give up.
So this is about what you were saying about the plea deal. The disintegration of Hunter Biden's plea deal had nothing to do with politics. Hunter Biden is a modern day Rorschach test. Rorschach. Oh, like the blobs on the paper, right? What do you see?
Or the anti-hero from Watchmen.
Right. Which, by the way, side note, I can't believe they never did season 2 of The Watchmen on HBO, but that's neither here nor there. The way people respond to hearing his name often reveals which political party they belong to. For many Republicans, President Joe Biden's kid has not just abused drugs and apparently evaded paying federal taxes, but he is also his father's biggest political liability. For some of these Republicans, Biden is a wretched figure who engaged in sex trafficking and improperly traded off his family's name to make unearned millions and shady business deals with foreign and domestic actors. That sounds like a James Bond villain.
Well, honestly, when they say he improperly traded off his family's name to make unearned millions and shady business deals, what they're saying is he's the son of a very powerful man in the United States.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, but like I'm not defending it as right, but every single like adult child of, whether you're the president's son, the vice president's child, whether you're the kid of Nancy Pelosi or or Chuck Schumer or Mitch McConnell or whatever. All these nepotism runs rampant. All these elites are like intertwined with each other.
But you know, it's so
all
rich.
Children are run rampant. Like
it's rich to hear people complain about the children of politicians, because politicians leave office so incredibly rich that it is literally an impossibility that they weren't doing shady, illegal shit. There's a reason why Nancy Pelosi has a better stock record than fucking Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
She makes what, I don't know how much she's worth, a couple $100 million, probably.
Her husband was selling options on like Nvidia and other chip stocks,
right? With inside information.
Yeah, when they knew that the Chips Act was going to pass,
right?
Yeah, like he's been selling options and all that stuff. Like,
so it's so rich to hear. It's rich to hear politicians like go after other politicians' kids for doing a lot of the same shit that they're doing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's I don't understand.
Yeah, like Hunter Biden. What is Hunter Biden doing on the board of a Ukrainian gas company?
Yeah,
he has no experience in natural gas. What, he turned on a natural gas heater one time, so now he's on the board? No, he's on the board because he's Hunter Biden.
Yeah, his dad got him a cushy job.
President of the United States. Exactly. So they're like, yeah, let's just put this kid on the board because, you know, it gives us a little sway.
And you know what? If Ron DeSantis was 70 and he had a kid, that kid would be on the board of some.
Well, explain why Jared Kushner's getting like these $3 billion deals to him from the Saudis.
Right.
Oh, I don't know, because he's the fucking son-in-law of goddamn the president of the United States, Donald Trump.
100%. Yeah.
There's only one thing in politics that's bipartisan, and that's the corruption, and they all just fill their own pockets.
Amen. Truer words have never been spoken about the United States.
That's one of the main reasons why the Hunter Biden story, it's like, it's never really gripped me, you know, because it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, politician's kid's kind of a shitty person. He does he does a lot of blow and bangs hookers and makes millions of dollars off of his dad's name. I'm like, and because that's literally every fucking politician's kid. I'm not saying it's right, but all I'm saying is, if Republicans are really good, because there's talk of impeaching Joe Biden over this, which is corruption. It's impeaching him over corruption. Now, I just think that's a can of worms. Like, do the Republicans really want to open up the can of worms of starting to impeach people over corruption when literally all of them are corrupt?
Want to read that?
Huh?
I said, you want to finish the story?
All right. There was a good deal of sparring between the parties and the judge during the 3-hour hearing, but at least two things appear to have led to, at the least, temporary demise of the plea deal. First, U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen, yeah, that's a weird name, Mary Ellen Noreika, who is overseeing the case and was appointed by former President Donald Trump, expressed concern that the agreement would have improperly placed her in charge of whether Biden fulfilled the terms of the part of the agreement that dictated the felony gun charges would be dropped if he complied with certain conditions, such as refraining from using controlled substances or alcohol for 2 years. Yeah, like, what does that have to do with a gun charge? Federal prosecutors, who are members of the executive branch, bring charges for failure to comply with plea deals, not judges. However, the plea agreement provided that if there were a disagreement about whether Biden filled the terms of the conditions, the matter would go to Noreika. That's how you pronounce it, Noreika, for fact-finding. As she noted, that would put her in the middle of the dispute and potentially interfere with the Justice Department's ability to bring the charges. So basically, she's saying, you guys are trying to give me a responsibility that's not mine.
Right.
Second, there is a surprising lack of agreement between the prosecution and the defense about what the plea agreement actually included. That's kind of a shame. Like, when your lawyers can't are like, yeah, this is the plea deal. And then the prosecutor's like, no, that's not actually the plea deal.
That's a bad sign. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, so there's a surprising lack of agreement between the prosecutor and the defense about what the plea agreement actually included and what its consequences should be. Biden has also been investigated for his foreign lobbying activities and specifically whether he should have registered as a foreign agent. This is one of the charges that is pending against him because if you're doing foreign lobbying, you're supposed to register with the government as basically a foreign agent. And he never registered with the government as a foreign agent, and he was apparently doing foreign lobbying. So that technically is that's what they were trying to get that General Michael Flynn for was he didn't register as a foreign agent for Ukraine or something like that.
Right.
Michael Flynn guy who was like that big MAGA general that Donald Trump was like obsessed over, or he was obsessed over Trump, something like that. The defense responded, then we'll rip the agreement up. It appeared that later in the hearing, Biden's attorney relented and said that they would have been amenable to a limited plea agreement, but the episode seemed to mark a turning point in the hearing and the moment when the wheels fell off. Yeah, so this is basically what I was mentioning before was like the plea agreement just completely disintegrated and now it's all up in the air because they couldn't agree on what the actual plea agreement was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, Hunter Biden's kind of a shit show, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Benghazi with Clinton. They're so good at attacking something and just being relentless at it. They just
but then that Benghazi thing never actually went anywhere.
I don't disagree.
They had those Benghazi hearings, and it was just like it was just kind of I don't know, like some guys died in the mission in Libya. That's all I really know about Benghazi. But
yeah, but it was the GOP like sole mission statement for years, right?
All I know about this Hunter Biden stuff is, don't you got to think that Joe's probably like, man, wouldn't it have been way better if he was the one who got the brain tumor?
Oh no, that's not nice. That's not nice at all.
Yeah, but his life would be easier if Bo was the one still alive, don't you think?
Listen, man, I worry about Joe Biden. I worry about his health. He said last week he cured cancer. I mean, yeah, he did. He has early. If he doesn't have early onset dementia, then like nobody has it. It's not a thing. If he doesn't,
here's the deal. I don't get it. It's like neither party wants to win the presidential election. You got one side that's dead set on electing Donald Trump because Donald Trump's going to become the nominee. And like outside of like diehard Trump supporters, who the fuck wants Donald Trump president again? And then on the other side, you have the other side's like dead set on having Joe Biden run again, who's like 82, got mush brain, can't talk.
He can't run again.
And then what happens if he dies in office? We have the most hated politician on the planet, Kamala Harris. Like, who the fuck wants Kamala Harris to be the president?
Yeah.
Like, no one wanted Kamala Harris. Yeah, I can't stand Kamala Harris. She's like anti-charisma.
I can't wait to see how it all plays out because I just can't see how he could be reelected. I mean, he's not all
Here's how he could be reelected. The Republicans put Donald Trump as their nominee.
Yeah.
You know how Biden doesn't get reelected? If the Republicans put anybody besides Donald Trump as their nominee.
Do you think it's definitely going to be Trump?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's 100% going to be Donald Trump. The Republican base doesn't want anyone besides Trump. There's like 40% of Republicans who want someone else. But man, those real diehard Republicans love him. And
That is a depressing 2024 election. An 80 something year old Biden against like an 80-year-old Trump.
Can you explain to me how we got in a situation where both parties are going to force on us two individuals who no one really even wants?
Do you think that there's ever going to be term limits and age limits?
There's term limits already for president.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Senate, like and Congress. Do you think that there's ever going to be term limits there?
No.
Do you think there's ever going to be age limits there or for the presidency?
No.
Then that's unfortunate. That sucks.
Well, the reason why there'll never be term limits is because the people who would vote on the law to make term limits is Congress, and they're not going to do that. You're not going to have some 40-year Congress person sitting in there going, yeah, let's vote on these term limits. That's just not going to happen.
I have no idea when Mitch McConnell's up for re-election, but
well, he's about to die too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, after watching what happened to him, we talked about it last week in that video where the dude literally short circuits, probably has a seizure right there in front of the world. And like, if he ran again, he would get elected again. And that's what blows my mind about this country.
Dianne Feinstein is like 91.
Right. Okay. Now, if she's running again,
literally, Dianne Feinstein makes Joe Biden look lucid.
Yeah, she officially has Alzheimer's, right?
She doesn't know where she's at. And she got reelected in 2018, and it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't get it. Chuck Grassley in the state right next to me just got reelected. He's 89. I'm like, how the hell is Chuck Grassley? Why are they voting for him again? Like, he's 89.
It just blows my mind.
It takes a lot of confidence to elect an 89-year-old to a position for 6 years.
But you know what it is? I guess, like, from the voter, I guess they don't have it. You as a voter, if you're, let's say you're a Republican, for example, right? If nobody runs against Chuck Grassley and he automatically becomes the nominee, then you're gonna vote for him regardless of who he's going against, because you're a Republican. So, like, I guess I understand why that's how they just constantly get reelected. But, like, if somebody runs against, let's just say Grassley for an example, it's a 50-year-old guy, just a normal GOPer, 50 years old. How do you not elect that guy over an 89-year-old Chuck Grassley? Because you just can't elect an 89-year-old to Congress, man. You just can't do that.
Basically, just be like Kim Reynolds, who's the Iowa governor. If she gets I think she might be term limited after her term. If she was just like, yeah, I'm going to run for the Senate now, and just if I lived in Iowa, I mean, I'm 5 minutes from Iowa, but I don't live in Iowa. If I lived in Iowa, I'd be like, I'd vote for Kim Reynolds in the primary over Chuck Grassley because she's like 45 or something.
Right. I understand why they get in if nobody runs against them. But first of all, shame on you as the GOP or the Democratic base for not putting a candidate to run up against Feinstein and not putting a candidate to run up against McConnell or Grassley.
Oh, you want to hear something hilarious?
It makes no sense.
Dianne Feinstein's opponent in 2018 was a Democrat.
That's what I mean. Like, how do you not elect that person?
I don't know the intricacies of how that happened, but I know because in California they don't do they call it jungle primaries. Like, they don't have partisan primaries. So everyone who's running in the primary runs against each other, and then the top two people in the primary, regardless of party, goes to the general election. Well, the top two people was Dianne Feinstein and some other Democrat, who I believe the California State Democratic Party endorsed. But the National Democratic Party came in and pushed Feinstein through, and just through sheer, I guess, habit and name recognition, because she's been senator since like 1990, 35 years now, she got reelected. But anyways, that's enough of that.
Yeah, I don't know. The country's a shit show. We're electing 90-year-olds. We're electing 80-year-olds to be the president of the United States. That's why
we're going to have two guys running for president that no one actually wants to be president.
God bless the world. God bless America. And that's episode 4 of Ant and Jay Save America. We'll be back next week, Thursday, same time, same place. We're out. Later.